Servus and greetings from Vienna. My name is Anita Posch. Thank you for listening to Bitcoin & Co., my podcast that's introducing the philosophy, ideas and people behind Bitcoin. Hello to all you Bitcoin friends, newbies and interested people out there. Thanks that you're here again listening to my podcast. This is the first of 9 interviews I've recorded at the Baltic Honey Badger conference in Riga. So please subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify and other major players, or subscribe to my newsletter at anitaposch.com/newsletter. That's ANITAPOSCH.com/newsletter. Then you won't miss an episode. You can find more details and the show notes to this episode on bitcoinandco.com/en. So that's bitcoinundco.com/en. That's the English version of my podcast. My guest today is Rodolfo Novak, an entrepreneur who is a long-time Bitcoiner. He's building products like the OpenDime, the Coldcard Wallet, the BlockClock, and is experimenting with a lot of other stuff connected to Bitcoin. And I think as of now, it's the episode with the most laughing in it. So I think you're going to have fun while listening too. Before we start, I want to thank my sponsors. Without their support, this podcast wouldn't be possible. And they have great products and services, so please listen to their messages. I approached Shift Crypto Security because I feel like we care about the same things. My absolute belief is in independence. This is a value that drives all of Shift's products too. We both believe that everybody should be the holder of their own keys, and a well-built hardware wallet is the safest way to hodl your coins. So when Shift announced the Bitbox 02, we made it happen. The Bitbox 02 is Swiss-made, secure and easy to use. It has invisible touch sensors and USB-C, and it also comes as a Bitcoin-only edition. That's something I believe in too. So I encourage you to check it out at shiftcrypto.ch. That's shift, CRIPTO.ch. And you can get free shipping with the code ANITA. The Bitbox 02 by Shift Crypto Security. Paying with cryptocurrencies in everyday life and that with any wallet? Salamantex makes it possible now. Cheap, fast and easy. At the checkout or online. All Salamantex merchants and further information about the Salamantex digital payment system can be found at www.salamantex.com/customers. That's www.salamantex.com/customers. Hello, Rodolfo. Thanks for taking the time so spontaneous. We just met yesterday and you agreed to do this interview immediately. I find that's very nice. I've seen you're from Brazil.
Yes.
And live in Canada now.
That's
right. Can you please tell us a story and also how did you get from Brazil to Canada?
Yeah, so I think I was like 18 or 19. I decided I found this course I wanted to do in Canada and applied. I went and fell in love with Toronto and sort of never went back.
Which course did you do?
It was a digital media arts.
Oh, at the SAE? No. There's it's a college. It's called SAE.
I don't know that
and
one.
It's okay, because that would have been funny, because I also have done something like that, only in Austria, and it's an international institute. So yeah, okay. So you stayed for the study, and because life was good.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the opposite of Brazil.
So also the winter time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of the winter.
Really?
I know it's kind of weird. I'm probably one of the only people that, even in Canada, that likes the winter.
It's long and very cold winter, isn't
yes, but it's dry. Oh. We get snow, but it's dry. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, nice. So you stayed there, and did you work in digital media then at the beginning?
Yeah, I mean, the course itself turned out to be crap, like, most schooling in general. And, but it gave me like enough points to apply for immigration and sort of like, so I applied and then I started working for some companies and started my own company and sort of.
Okay, you were an entrepreneur before.
Yes.
Okay, so you have the entrepreneurial heart.
Yeah, it's just because my grandparents also went to Brazil, sort of like from Europe, and they started businesses there. So it's just like you can't escape your DNA.
Oh, that's cool. So they came from Europe, and
Yes.
you went to Canada.
That's right.
Okay, great story. And what did your great grandparents do in Brazil?
Different stuff.
Okay.
One of them, it's
Yeah.
just all.
So that's in the family.
Yes.
And so you started your own company. And when did you hear about Bitcoin the first time?
It was the Slashdot article for me.
So many people say that to me. Yeah.
Yeah, because back in those days, the Hacker News wasn't I can't remember if Hacker News was around yet. But like Slashdot was like sort of essentially like what Hacker News is today. Like it's like where a lot of the new stuff got posted and sort of you got a lot of exposure that way.
Mm-hmm. And then you started to research it, or
yeah, I mean I looked at it. I was pretty skeptical about it, and I sort of was on and off, and then when it clicked for me, I started me and Peter Gray, my business partner on Coinkite, we built btclook.com, which was like a Redis based, like a in-memory based blockchain explorer, just to sort of learn about it, and then we closed it down pretty fast because the blockchain got too big for memory of the computer, and we didn't want to pay for servers, and then sort of like we made the payment terminals, we made the debit cards, and we made the.
Okay, but that's a huge step, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
you the Slashdot article was in 2011 or something, huh?
We often do huge steps. We launched the Bitcoin terminals, I think, in 2013 maybe. Yeah.
And did you have clients then?
Yeah, we had terminals in like 80 countries.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There was like a Coinkite terminal in pretty much like every major city in the world, and they were like GSM and stuff, so they would work anywhere in the world. And
has this grown?
No, so we we were a little bit early. So they were not meant originally to be payment terminals. They were meant to be a mini exchange machine, right? So, but we incorporated two modes in the design. So you could pick in exchange mode, so you print paper wallets, you sell Bitcoin. Or you could use it as a standard payment terminal, so you could accept payments for your bar and put the table number kind of thing. And then we made the Bitcoin, like the Coinkite debit cards, and so we sold quite a bit of those, but it was kind of stupid. There was no way that thing was going to take off properly in 2014 by that time. Yeah, and we had to build out the backend for that, so we ended up launching a wallet as well, just the whole rabbit hole.
And it was just the two of you?
Yeah, well, we had like some contractors like doing some stuff for us. We've always sort of like we don't use big like server providers like AWS and things like that, so we always sort of like ran our own servers and use small serving hosting companies, and we had to build the hardware security modules to do that, so we sort of like had those distributed around, but yeah, it was a small team.
Mm-hmm. Let's come back to Bitcoin, please. Like, what was the interesting thing about Bitcoin for you that you decided that's in a way weird but cool at the same time?
I mean, like for me, it was sort of like that thing. It was like the money is in the computer. Like actually in the computer, it's like a bearer instrument, right? So that to me was fascinating, that I could send money digitally without middleman. Like it was just truly fascinating to me. Like I couldn't let go of it anymore.
Are the properties like it's uncensorable and it belongs to you? And is this?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it really sort of. I've always been a believer that like the internet is like the eighth continent. It's like where our brains go. And like but you can't have like freedom with just information, right? You also need commerce. Like humans want to trade stuff. So, but you had to rely on PayPal, you had to rely on Liberty Reserve or whatever, and Bitcoin sort of like was the part that was missing. 402 payment required was part of the internet from the beginning. It's just that we didn't have a system to fill that hole.
It's so multidimensional. It's not only a payment method, as you
said.
So
yeah. So, but that was part of the journey, right? For me, I didn't see it as a store of value like back in the very early days. It became a store of value for me, like as I started to understand more, because I don't have an economics background, and I saw it as a piece of technology that like allows me to say F you to the man and sort of make a transaction without anybody's permission. And back in those days, I mean, the price would like go everywhere. So thinking of that as a store of value was kind of not obvious. The store of value came after when I saw that like my customers were more interested in holding it than spending it.
That's interesting, yeah. Because why didn't they want to spend it? Did they believe that it's more a store of value? Did they believe the thing like it's digital gold?
I think humans have a tendency to hoard scarce things, perceived scared things, and I think it's very innate. It's like you see a shiny thing, you want to put it in a bag and take it home.
Okay,
so it's like Bitcoin was kind of like that. It's a shiny thing for like technical people.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, but on the other hand, if we don't spend it, it won't get more distribution, or?
Yeah, so a lot of people gave a lot away. It's just to get people in. But the thing is, like, I don't think you can force adoption by sort of like pedantically sort of like peddle it. I think it's a need thing, right? Like there was a need for Bitcoin. People wanted to sell and buy things they're not allowed to. Legal, illegal things. They also wanted to sell things to countries that are not allowed to. And I think that the nation state got sort of a little bit out of control. We found sort of freedom through the Enlightenment, and then it started becoming totalitarian again.
Yeah, but don't you fear that also payments in Bitcoin are getting like, in a way, totalitarian surveillance?
No, because you know what? Like mixing actually works fairly reasonably. Like it's not perfect, but it does work. That's one of the reasons why I created OpenDime, is so that people could transact without trace. I think people should have the inherent right of privacy. And but join markets works. Wasabi and Samurai.
Is CoinJoin in Samurai or in Wasabi automatically done? Or?
Yes, yeah. So
I never tried it.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure. I can't remember about Samurai, but I know. So in Wasabi, essentially, like that's how you use the wallet, right? It does the thing for you, And then there is other coins that provide like privacy too, and I think that the people who have need for extreme privacy that are not technically capable yet of like really taking care of their own Bitcoin, because you can do Bitcoin privacy fairly well, but you have to be fairly technical. There's ways around everything.
Yeah, but and I also think that the development in the technical stuff will go into the direction that also non-technical users can do CoinJoins and something like that.
I think, yeah. So Wasabi is incredibly easy to use. It's like very easy, and there's a lot of more average person sort of like going for it now, and it's growing.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, I'm very skeptical sometimes, or pessimistic about the governments and regulation. Don't you think that someday they say all the coins which are mixed are illegal?
Who cares?
Okay.
There's another 50, there's another 100 countries in the world that are not going to say that. Yeah, and you go to the other country and you exchange it there for some other thing, and then you go back and you exchange for some other thing. This is like a hopeless game. It really is, because hopefully Bitcoin won't get so expensive so fast that we're going to like spread this thing a lot more before it's a concern. Because Bitcoin right now is not a concern for any government.
Yeah,
it's a kiddie pool.
Yeah. I mean, I was talking to a guy from the United Nations office, money laundering and stuff. And he told me that most criminals use Bitcoin because if they use Monero, there's the danger, or Zcash, there's the danger that they are found more easily because not so many people use Monero like Bitcoin. So
yeah, I mean, I don't think there's a lot of people doing money laundering in Bitcoin. HSBC does a much better job.
Yeah, what shall I say? So I remember at the beginning of this year, you did something that everybody in the world, like who's in Bitcoin, realized that it's great. You sent a Bitcoin transaction over the radio.
Yes.
Yeah, from Toronto to Michigan.
Yeah, and went to San Francisco. There were a few.
Yeah, tell us about it. How does this work?
So this is like amateur radio, right? I'm a licensed amateur operator. And so HF, so it's like lower bands, I think was 14 megahertz. And what's cool about this sort of bands is that like they bounce off the ionosphere and then they go back down. So kind of you can actually cross the whole kind of planet, which is fun. And so one of them, I asked somebody to broadcast a transaction for me. Another one, I sent a plain text private key. And then another one, I sent a lightning payment to Elena. Yeah. We tried a few different things.
What, in the torch?
No, I didn't do the torch at the time because I hadn't found a good like modulation protocol that could do because lightning is a lot more data. And HF radio is fairly constrained bandwidth-wise.
You can only send small amounts of data.
No, you can, but so you're dependent on quality sort of environment. So because HF radio doesn't really care about the weather. It cares about the sun weather. So the sun interferes with it, unlike higher frequencies. So you have you're sending data constantly, right? And there is a small chance it doesn't get those parts, so you have to send it again. It's forward error correction, so you pre-do the error correction because it's not two ways, right? You can't receive and transmit at the same time. It's a single channel sort of thing. You send, and then they tell you, oh, did I get it or not, kind of thing.
Oh, interesting. So it's very dependent on nature.
Yeah.
So it's not really reliable. Can we say that?
It's actually more reliable than satellite, for example.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, no. There is nothing more reliable than HF radio. Like all the American nuclear silos, for example, all this stuff is going to use lower bands as a means of a redundancy.
Okay. And are you going to do something with that idea? I mean, is this...
So, we're going to make a little program so that people could run an HF receiver, which is very easy and you don't have to be licensed for. And then everybody would get access to this private key and this public key. It would be a public private key and public key pair. And essentially, if you want somebody to broadcast your transaction, you just send three outputs. One output is your transaction. One output is the mining fee, and then the third output would be a payment to this address. And so whoever sees it first claims it on the blockchain and broadcasts it.
So you're working on that?
No, we put it aside because there isn't enough people using this stuff, right?
Yeah,
so we sort of put. It's just the people who can do this stuff can already do the stuff, so they don't need an incentive, at least for now.
But if you want to be off the grid, or need, or in any, you can.
I mean, what's really cool about this stuff is that you can use the high bandwidth satellite to sync your node, and then you make your transaction. You can broadcast the transaction via HF radio, and you can do that camping.
Yeah, that's great. Oh, it's so great. Before we continue, a short message from my longtime show supporters at Coldcard Wallet. Thank you. We'll be back soon. Do you want to keep your Bitcoin safe long term? The Coldcard Wallet is the best cold storage solution a retail customer can get. It's easy to use and completely offline. No hassles with updates, passwords or hacks. I gave one to friends as a wedding gift. They are Bitcoin newbies, but with the card wallet, even they can hodl Bitcoin securely. And the best thing is, my friends at cardwallet.com made a special offer for all the listeners of my podcast. If you go to www.cardwallet.com/Anita, you'll get 20% off the price. So go to www.cardwallet.com/Anita now and buy a card wallet with a 20% discount. So we were talking about OpenDime.
Yes.
Was this the first product then you did after the terminal, or how did this come into existence?
So we had a wallet, like a multi-sig wallet like BitGo. It was before BitGo. And so that was like, it's like holding money for people and sort of, and I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to hold other people's bags. So we closed down Coinkite, and we wanted to make like the opposite of what we were doing before. So the most like point solution as possible, the most disconnected device as possible. And I wanted to be something like, I wanted to go back to just hardware. And so we created like physical Bitcoin, or like a bare instrument for Bitcoin. And that's sort of what OpenDime is.
Okay, you can basically put some Bitcoin, a little amount or a great amount on it. And it's ideal to give it as a gift or something. How to just to physically exchange Bitcoin without using a wallet in a software wallet.
So all you have to do is check the signature, really. And but what's interesting is that the two main properties, right? One is immediate; you don't have to wait for confirmations, but it's real Bitcoin because it is a confirmed coin in there. So you don't have to wait for blocks.
So it's like a physical coin.
Exactly.
It's a physical Bitcoin in a way.
And the other part is privacy, right? There's zero trace between two people.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Zero digital trace, right?
Yeah.
So you can keep on repassing that device to more people and more people and more people, and that creates a pretty interesting, chain of not chain.
An unchain.
An unchain.
And the Coldcard Wallet is another product.
Yes.
How does this work? What is it?
So after closing Coinkite, we're kind of looking for places on how we store. Like I store mine, and my partner store his, and I bought the available hardware wallets, and I opened them up and look at it, and it's like pretty unsatisfied with what was available. So we made hardware wallets.
Okay, I understand. So it's a hardware wallet, but I think you can use your own dice.
Yeah. So we went the full paranoid mode, right? So like we wanted to make the device that sort of like satisfy the long list that like an appropriately like a person who understands cryptography would like to satisfy, right? So the device is air gapped. You don't have to use it with a computer. You can, but you don't have to. It's there's proper supply chain control. There is bags that show if it was voided, and then for sources of entropy, you don't have to trust us. You can actually throw dice. You can do 66. Well, I mean, you can just put a little bit of your entropy. You can do halfway, or you can go full and do the 99 throws, and then you have like full entropy there for this. Yeah, and this is all open source and mathematically provable. And
I saw you also have a Lightning vending machine.
Yes. So the best way to sort of like learn about something is to build something for it, at least.
So that's your way of learning.
Yeah. So this was very much like Peter. He really wanted to. So we built a vending machine that takes Lightning payments.
Okay, and do you sell it also? Is it
no? It was
just an experiment.
We were going to sort of send it to some conferences, and people could put, because it's an actual professional vending machine. This is not like a toy. You could put it on the wall and it works. But it turns out it's a pain in the ass to ship a vending machine to conferences.
Yeah, I understand. We were talking about trust yesterday. So the Coldcard Wallet,
Yes.
if you would say security is like a scale from 0 to 100, where would you rank your...
There's no 100, right? Like nothing is infallible, but you know, it's a pretty safe device. I mean, it does satisfy a lot of my requirements. And then the new version that we're launching it's like it takes that to like another level too. So
is there also a software with it?
No.
So
we
you
don't
only create the seed. How do you get
so
your
so you use it with Electrum or Core or any wallet that supports PSBT format. It's a partially signed Bitcoin transactions. You can use it with. It's completely wallet agnostic.
Okay, so it has a USB.
You can use USB or you can use the microSD card to shuttle through. So you can use sneaker nets or you can be offline.
Oh, understand. Okay. Yeah. So many different types also of wallets there.
Yeah, no, it's people have different needs.
Yeah, that's true.
So you know, like and there's always like security is always a set of trade-offs. So you know, if you want to make the super easy online web wallet that connects to a hardware wallet, there's major security concerns, major privacy concerns. You should never have to put your hardware wallet into a computer. That to me is crazy, but you know, there's people who need that, and we allow that too. So. But yeah, I'm more partial to sneakernet.
Okay. So, but one of the mottos of Bitcoin is don't trust, verify.
Exactly.
So, but in the end, with the different products, you still have to trust the people who do it, who make it, or?
No, there's, well, ish. So it's tricky, right? Because, so we go through great lengths so that you don't have to trust us, right? So everything is open source. You can buy the parts yourself from another vendor and load it and build it yourself if you want. And you can prove our source code is doing what it does. The case is clear, so you can inspect it. You know, you can use your own entropy, so you don't have to trust the device. So, you know, as you build these layers, you know, that trust surface really diminishes very fast. And I think that's very important. I didn't want to trust my own wallet.
So you build your Coldcard by yourself, or do you use the ones you have?
Oh, no, I use the ones we make. Yeah, no, from the factory. Yeah.
So you trust your own product.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's why we made it. And also, like, you know, that's the one that gets visibility too, right? Like the people that are trying to hack is the one that I sell on the store. So I want to use the one that gets more eyes on.
So what other products are you going to do in the future? Or do you look, or is it just those you have and keep going?
Oh, we have piles of stuff in like prototypes of all kinds of stuff. So it's just what we do all day.
Okay. And you do it also because it's fun for you to build stuff.
Yep. Yeah. That's pretty much it.
Because I also seen the Bitcoin clock.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I forgot that. Yeah. We, you know, it was the anniversary of 10 years of Bitcoin. I wanted like an object that would sort of represent that artistically, and sort of that's what BlockClock is. It's an electromechanic, like display for like blockchain data and price and that kind of stuff.
Okay. Yeah. Great. You have a business partner?
Yes.
And you said you have a factory also in Canada?
We produce everything in Canada.
And how many people are there?
The factory is fairly like automated. I want to say like maybe 15, 20 people in the factory.
And what are your dreams or visions of your company in the future?
I don't really, I don't function like that. Yeah, no, we just do stuff, and if people keep on buying, we keep on making them.
I mean, it's a great attitude because you can't plan anyhow. So
yeah, I mean, you know, it's like, you know, it's nice to sell stuff. Like, it's like, to me, that's like the most, like, you know, people saying, "Oh, great, that thing you did is cool." Well, wonderful, right? But like, if people actually like forgo their money and they buy your thing, it's very satisfying.
Then it's like, a proof of work.
It's a proof of work. Right.
And do you sell worldwide?
Sorry. Yes. Yeah, we ship anywhere in the world.
Yeah, I know you sell to Austria also. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ship to Austria.
We ship everywhere.
Yeah. And is this from the toll or from the legislation in countries? Is this a problem or
no? I mean, you know, this is like I think like this our community is community between quotes, I guess, it's more pessimistic about this stuff than it actually is. Like, you can ship pretty much anything to any country as long as it's not an illegal thing in that country. Then, like, there really is no issues.
Yeah. Now, coming back to Bitcoin, you're a long-time Bitcoiner and have seen many things. Do you think that Bitcoin still is in danger of being not used anymore or dying?
I think by the numbers, it's pretty much the opposite. I mean, this thing just keeps on growing. But like, I have just, my mentality with Bitcoin is pretty simple. It's like either it goes to zero or it goes to the moon. Like, it's a finite thing. That scarcity just causes that sort of model, right? Like, because if Bitcoin stagnates, something else will take over and Bitcoin goes to zero. So I think it's very naturally we just keep on going up, and I think the price is, trading in Bitcoin is a smaller function of the price. The price is really more based on the adoption curve than it is based on trading. So we see these massive movements every couple of years. That's because you create the sort of self-fulfilling circles of adoption, like adoption waves, and then they just dampen a bit. But I think it's going to go,
Do you think there's another wave coming in 2020 because of the halving?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so much stuff going on. It's just insane. I mean, there is all the privacy stuff. There's the liquid stuff. There is Lightning. There is, financial products, that are also regulated. There's just so much stuff happening in Bitcoin. Like, I don't even have time to look at alt stuff.
Yeah, that's true. And it's happening at a fast pace and you don't realize it. Man, yesterday I was at the Blockstream meetup when they were talking about Liquid, and Samson Mao said that you can run a Lightning network on top of Liquid, and I was like, what?
Yeah. It's it moves. I mean, people build in, and I think most importantly, it's a very capitalist minded technology, right? Money, so there is no shame in making money, and there is also it's encouraged, right? So projects are much more sustainable than donationware, right? So when people build like Linux distros and stuff, a lot of those are academic, and in Bitcoin it's like people are trying to make money, and when there is that kind of incentive, it really pushes things far and fast. I think that's an amazing drive to it.
But is this side of money and profit? I guess you also have other aspects in Bitcoin you see there. So, like you said it before, the freedom of buying stuff you want to buy.
That's commerce. That's profit.
Yeah.
No,
right,
I mean, I
it's
think
also the freedom to be able to buy stuff. Like in many countries, you can't. Yeah.
I think I think what Bitcoin kills is crony capitalism, right? Like, I mean, you can actually have freedom to grow. Money is a good thing. It may not be as cool for people maybe in richer countries where people try to downplay capitalism, that kind of stuff. But no, it's a fantastic thing, especially if you don't live in a very nice country.
That's true.
It's like you want to make money.
Yeah. I mean, as I see it in Austria and Germany, most people are not interested in Bitcoin because they say it's only speculation. I mean, they don't see all the other aspects, of course, but yeah.
I think there's many different people in those countries too.
Yeah, sure.
There is a lot of German hodlers.
Yeah, no, it's there are also a lot of full nodes in Germany.
Yeah. No, it's there's just a lot of loud voices that sort of talk about that way, especially more mainstream media kind of thing. And what's cool about Bitcoin is that it doesn't care, right? So we don't really need or care about,
like the honey badger doesn't
exactly care. It's just just is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm learning that every day, and the more I get into the Bitcoin space, the more I realize how weird the corporate space or the mainstream space for me is, and also I'm just doing more for privacy and security, and it's really interesting because
as a German person, I mean, no, you're
I'm Austrian.
Yeah. Oh, you're Austrian.
German speaking. Yeah.
Europe is going negative interest rates soon. People are not going to want to keep their money in the bank, and you're not allowed to have cash anymore in many places, right? So people are going to store their value somewhere else.
Yeah, and I hope they find it in Bitcoin, because there are a lot of shitcoiners in our area.
Yeah,
and
it's everywhere.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of people want easy money, right? So shitcoins provide the idea of easy money, and it's understandable.
Yeah, and I mean, Bitcoin grows at this low factor at the moment, and I think many people got burned in 2017 maybe, so they don't trust it at the moment. I don't know.
I mean, don't want to get racked, don't gamble. It's like...
Yes. Yeah, it's a game, actually, in a bit. And at the moment, it's a game, You have to...
Yeah, even Bitcoin could go to zero.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's okay for all the people who are really interested in the technology and in the other, like, maybe philosophical aspects and properties of Bitcoin. Yeah.
Well, Bitcoin really sort of gives you a hard lesson on what money is. And I think... Ultimately, that's the thing. Like, everybody finds out that they didn't understand money before they really played with Bitcoin.
That's absolutely true. Yeah. So, do you have any recommendations for our listeners about Bitcoin? What should they read, or books to read, or videos to look?
I don't know. I'm really getting into sort of reading more about economics and sort of trying to understand that more than the tech side of it. I don't know. Just play with it. Build something and try to sell it.
Yeah, good idea. And can you please tell us your website address?
Right.
Or
so I'm NVK on Twitter, and Coinkite.com is our company, and then we have Coldcard, BlockClock, and OpenDime. That's... Oh, and I launched this project called walletsrecovery.org. And so if you're looking for the derivation path of a wallet that you can't find because nobody documents things well, it's probably there.
Okay. Thanks. Interesting stuff. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
And
it was a pleasure.
Yeah, have a good time at the Balticani Badger Conference.
It's a fun one. Thank you. Bye.
So thank you for listening. And please remember to check out the Bitbox O2 hardware wallets. Free shipping with the code ANITA at shiftcrypto.ch. 2 editions, both Swiss-made, including a Bitcoin only. What can I say? I'm a fan. And thanks also to Card Wallet and Salamantex. That's it for today. Thank you for listening. What did you think of the interview? Did it bring you greater understanding of Bitcoin and its people? If yes, and if you want to support my show, please subscribe to the podcast in your player, leave some stars, and share on social media. Feel free to contact me on Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube, or send me a voice message via the link on the episode page. Goodbye from Vienna. Auf Wiederhören. Music, start with Yes, Delicate Beats. Idea, content and production, yours truly, Anita Posch.